What's good, YouTube? Today we're showcasing the absolute best defense in College Football 25's Dynasty Mode and Ultimate Team. You can obviously use this in head-to-head and everything else, but I think that this defense really excels in a mode where you can build your team around the scheme and get the right personnel and abilities in certain positions. I'm going to say this, it's not my main defense that I run, but I go to it a lot. It's very, very good for stopping the run. It's very, very good for sending pressure. There's a few things that it's weak at. We're going to try to shore up those weaknesses in this video. I'm going to show you how to stop certain things. I'm going to tell you right now, some of the weaknesses of this formation are, I would say two things, depending on how you run it. The seams are weak in this, and the sidelines are weak in this. You can very easily, the seams not so much, but the outside, like the sidelines, that's very easy to shore up. The seams is a little bit tougher, but I'm going to show you some ways to cover those weaknesses, and I'm going to show you the most elite way to run this defense. So with that being said, there's 4 plays I like to run out of this. It's the cover 3 buzz, Samuel blitz, cover 4 quarters, and the Tampa 2. I would leave the coverage shell on default. I would come out and cover 3 buzz 90% of the time. You can audible into anything else that you have. I don't think I actually have an audible set for this in this playbook, but I'll show you the plays that I would cycle through. We're just going to hop into a random trips formation. The adjustments for just the base defense are pretty simple. All we're going to do is pull up our defensive line adjustments, left on the D-pad, and then down on the left stick, pinches the line. I'm just going to pull the menu back up so it doesn't hike the play, start the play. But that's the base adjustment for any play that you run out of this. I think the cover 3 should be your base defense. One adjustment I do make that not everyone does is if you look at this cover 3 right now, here's part of the reason that the seams are kind of weak is the safety right here is favoring the strong side, which in this specific formation is actually pretty good. But if they're going 2 wide receivers on the left, 2 on the right, you want this safety to start in the middle of the field, not on the right, not on the left. For that specific formation, it's good because he's now favoring the strong side. He's covering the seam threat. But if he starts, I don't think that this would ever really happen, I don't think. But if he starts here, take a look at how wide open that seam is probably going to be. This hook curl right here, Davis, is not going to follow this receiver up very far. He'll get to about right here. Obviously, we're on the 30-yard line too, so there's a little bit less space to work with. But if they're on the the 30-yard line, 20-yard line, this seam is going to get open very quick. Obviously, you can user it. That's one thing. You can man up the seam threat. That will work more often than not, depending on the threat. My linebacker is actually a safety, so he plays a little bit better coverage than the linebacker. But my wide receiver, or my tight end, which is number 15 there, Thurman, he's a very good tight end. So he may just burn this seam. But again, this is why it's really important to match your safety to the seam side, or at least put them in the middle where they can kind of guard both if they're in a 2-on-2 set. They just ran the ball here. The run defense out of this formation is pretty solid. If you want to make it even better, though, here's a couple of things I would do. So again, pinch your line. If they're running outside runs, I would drag out these players a little bit. As you can see, Roker is already outside. That's usually his base adjustment. If you want to come out and always pretend that you're blitzing, though, you can come out and just, hang on, let me move them in. So you can just blitz them. Oh, sorry, not blitz them. You can drag them in, though, and they can be still on their cover 3 shells. Let me put them back on that. What was it? Curl flat and curl flat. So now it looks like you could be sending the blitz right now because they're dragged in, and you can run that exactly the way it's set up. Or you can just drop them in the coverage. This is why the personnel is very important for this defense, though. So Roker and Bonsu are actually both safeties that I moved to linebacker. They have, I believe one of them has platinum house call and the other one has silver house call with gold knockout. You want abilities like that on these outside contains, these outside linebackers, because if these are just regular linebackers with bad abilities, they're going to get exposed all day long in the coverages, and this defense basically becomes obsolete because you can't cover anything, within 10 or 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. So make sure that these guys are safeties, move them away from their original positions, move them to linebacker. In Ultimate Team, obviously you can just get good linebackers with abilities and put them in these spots. But here's the thing, you also want high speed here. I don't think it's actually possible on safeties to get house call and quick jump. That would be really, really nice to have on these outside contains. But since we don't have that, I don't know what my line's doing. But we want Stover and Mickens to both have as high of plat flat jumps, quick jumps as possible. In this specific scenario, though, Mickens and Stover do both have platinum quick jumps, so they are very good when they're not lined up sideways. Interesting. Anyways, this is the base defense. Sorry, that was a lot of rambling, but there's a lot to cover in just the base defense. This is your main set. If someone's hitting you with a lot of underneath routes, go Tampa 2. The clouds don't play great on like drags and stuff, so you can actually put this in a hard flat. This will take away basically everything underneath. Curls, drags, everything. But it's going to leave you very exposed on the sidelines, obviously, and it's going to leave you exposed up the middle. Not too bad. Davis in this mid-read usually does a decent job, but not for very long. So I would only go cover 2 if you're really trying to take away the underneath stuff. I feel like if you're ever in a Tampa 2, you're kind of just gambling on them throwing it deep. Maybe just they're not in the right route combo. Tampa 2 is a very risky defense. It's very aggressive. You can also run a nice blitz out of the Tampa 2. I've run this a handful of times. This is a very solid defense. You can even press everyone up. This guy didn't move since I touched him already. So this was the Tampa 2 shell. And all I did was I pressed Y and I pressed show blitz, which just pulls everyone down. I think the press is okay, but something about the show blitz just works better for me. I don't really know if it's placebo or not, but it also drags the safeties down. Press does not make your safeties come down in every formation and every type of coverage. If you show blitz, though, your safeties come down, which is really nice. So they may dot me, but here's the defense that I would run against, especially users. Users are not good against this. Of course, they just run the ball. But now the computer got their run play out of their system. Let's show you this blitz. I would actually still show blitz, so pull everyone down. You could hard flat, but that's super risky. You're already running a very tight coverage shell. You've only got 5 players in coverage with your user. So I would keep it on a cloud flat with them being pressed up like that. They'll still make some plays on the ball, sometimes short. But this is the way I'd run this. You want to get in the gap, take your lineman away, run out. The blitz actually gets picked up, but we get a pick there. And that's just part of the blitz is you've got a lot of pressure coming in, so it's going to put pressure on your opponent. That's computer. They don't make mistakes very often. Still got a pick out of it. So that's the base cover 3 shell. That's the Tampa 2. Like I said, you can also just run Tampa 2 default, try to take away the underneath stuff. The main blitz out of this, I actually don't have it in my audibles for whatever reason. Let me show you that. So this is your main blitz. The Sam Will blitz is disgusting. And I also run this to try to stop the run sometimes too. You can get these guys where they're drug out a little bit like this. And now they'll actually will help contain like the stretch plays, the quarterback, whatever it may be. He went with an option play. Did get the pitch off. We're there though. I keep forgetting to hold the right trigger, so they keep snapping the ball mid-discussion about the play. Let's run this again. If you want to be more risky, you can show the blitz, bring everyone down, but keep an eye on what wide receivers they have because they could just beat you over top very quickly. You can play over top coverage. Sometimes that stops the streaks, but if they have gold, platinum, quick jump, or what's it called for wide receivers, takeoff, they may just burn your corners immediately. Now your blitz means nothing because the play is over before it started, basically. So this is the base set for the blitz. Again, we just pressed our coverage. I got stuck on the line there. You want to make sure you're not getting stuck on a lineman. You just want to get in the gap, try to take away a lineman for a second. Let's run it again. Back it off. He ran the ball again. But the run defense out of this is really elite. Even if you don't spread your linebackers out, if you just run this stock with just the pinch line, still pretty solid. It's obviously a little bit harder to get those contains against things like I-form, pistol, whatever it may be. But you see we're blowing up the shotgun runs. Something like, how about corner strike? This isn't a great play, but this will be a good example. So pinch the line, get in the gap, and we're coming down. He's right there. Thurman almost broke the tackle because he's a beast. But this is, they have to make very quick reads. Again, that's just part of the reason you might want to press, just because you can get the DBs into position. It's just very risky. Just know that. It's very risky because sometimes you may get beat immediately. They keep hitting the flat. Nothing's there. But here's the cool thing. If you come out in this blitz, now you can just swap it to a cover 3 buzz. Obviously, it's going to show you that you moved it. But here's the cool thing about this defense. Drag him back in. Do this. Hang on. Let me grab him. So now it looks like a cover 3 blitz. You can still press them forward. The pressure is going to get there very, very fast. Play over top. I think there's a way. Thought there was a way to get these linebackers to naturally come down. Maybe not. You can run it like this. So it looks like you're still running that man blitz. Now they're trying to beat man. Guess what? It's not man. They end up beating the coverage that time. Cool. People are going to make reads sometimes. But this defense is very versatile with what you can run. That's why I love it. You can give it a lot of different shells, a lot of different coverages. And then let's say you get up in the game. Now you can just go cover 4 and just start chilling. I mean, you can go clouds. You can show blitz, play over top, just kind of chill in this defense. I mean, this is the strength of it. There's a lot of versatility in it. Nothing's open. It's a little flat route, takes a few yards. Yeah, this is the defense, man. It's really good, really elite. But let me show you a couple of things that really get exposed, though. I wish I had my second controller with me. I don't think it's charged right now. So here's where this defense gets bad, though. So like I said, the seams, right now you're seeing a perfect example of why the seams can be very weak. Look at my middle safety and look at the seam threat on the left. He's got a lot of ground to cover to get here if he throws it to the left. Obviously, he's covering the right seam, which is okay, but now we've got no seam protection on the left. So make sure he's in the middle. Like I said, you can do the show 3, and that'll move the safety back to the middle. Very nice little quick adjustment to do without having to click up there and move him around. So the seams are your weakness. That kind of is the case in all cover 3s, period, point blank, but it's even more so in this formation just because your linebackers are starting like here. Some of your coverages, they're like here. Your DBs are here, so the seam threat is not open as quick or at all because they're kind of backpedaling towards the seam. But yeah, that's the main weakness. But here's the one that gets me, and it's super hard to guard because you have to focus on so many other things, period, point blank. But hitting the outside routes against this formation is really easy because sometimes these guys start like this against formations. And, I mean, they can just snap it and immediately throw it to number 11 or even number 15, even against a hard flat sometimes, just because the routes are so quick. Obviously, this guy's going to start backpedaling. He's not going to cover that. So what you want to do, if someone's hitting with the outside routes, stop trying to disguise it like you're sending the blitz. Just drag them out. Don't even give them these easy, quick little out routes. These may still get picked up by RPOs, but this will at least take away those quick threats of the speed outs, the out routes, the flat routes. That's the biggest weakness with this defense. Probably even more so than the seams. The seams are just scarier because they score touchdowns quicker and easier. But those outside routes can keep drives going because they can just hit those all day long. That's, like I said, that's probably the biggest weakness of the defense. So we'll shore those up. I have a pretty good user here. Got bagged. Yeah, this is a very solid defense. Like I said, you need to build your defense around the way you want to run it, though. You want to have linebackers with high speed, switch them from safety to linebacker so they got good abilities. You want good defensive linemen with quick jumps. That's for any formation. And then obviously, the best DBs you can get. I have a pretty good secondary. As you can see, I've got Bussy, we got West. McLean has Platinum, House Call, Matthews Jr. All these guys got high speed, good abilities. The only thing I would want more with a defense like this is Ball Hawk. Ball Hawk is a really good ability. You don't see it very often in Dynasty mode. In Ultimate Team, it's much easier to get. Ball Hawk will change this defense from a good defense to, an elite defense. And honestly, that goes for any formation. Ball Hawk is just probably the best ability in the game, and not many people know it because you don't see it very often. Anyways, with all that being said, this is the defense. You can run it against a lot of different things. The last thing I'm going to show you to close this video out is this defense against I-form. All right, so unfortunately, I don't have a I-form in this, and we've got a few pistol formations, which are, I guess, okay. Maybe I can find, do we have a stretch out of here? I'm going to find a good stretch play. Full House is not really a good example. You off, do they have a stretch out of this? Okay, here we go. This is decent. I think pistol is not a perfect example. I wish that they had an I-form formation. They just snapped the ball immediately. Pretty good defense there. But against I-form, some of the problems you may see is these guys are dragged in so much that they may get blocked on the edges, and now your outside contains are basically completely up to your safeties and user, which, is kind of a double-edged sword because now you have less blockers up front, but now you're being forced on your quote-unquote worst players to make the tackle and block shed to stop the runs. It's not the worst problem to have. You can spread these linebackers out a little bit against run plays like this. In previous videos, I showed you if you were really struggling with the run, you could grab corners and blitz them. I wouldn't do that in a formation like this just because, first of all, we're running man, so we can't do that. But if we do that, then we're starting to just have to sacrifice a little bit too much for the run. There's too many good passing plays in this game. I just wouldn't sell out for the run to that level unless someone's just running the ball every down and they won't pass the ball. If they start doing that, cool, you can start sending more pressure off the edges, but I would keep it with just something like this. If someone's hitting you with just stretch plays, you don't have to pinch your line either. As you can see, the defense is pretty solid out of this right now. But if they're just hitting you with runs to the right, move your guys over that way. You don't have to have them pinched. You can slant them to the right, put all the pressure towards that side of the line. Again, drag them out. That's really it. I mean, you don't have to make a ton of crazy adjustments. It is going to be on your user, though, to make a lot of these plays. You see that edge-contained blitz is so good. That is just something that not enough people do. They just don't drag the players out to the right spots. These kind of blitzes from these linebackers or corners honestly will stop 90% of stretch plays if you can have time to do it. You just have to guess correctly which side they're going to. Obviously, they can flip it to the left, so just do the same thing on this side. Again, we can slant our line that way. I mean, in this formation they're running right now, they could technically run this left too, so I wouldn't probably just sell out 100% to the right. But again, I mean, look at this. The run's shut down at that point. The stretch is not a problem. You can do the same thing against single back, I form. I mean, the same rules apply. Drag your edge contain out, pinch the line if you want to, spread them to either side. Again, doesn't really matter, just depends on kind of how they're running the football. I forgot to drag them out that time. My user's there. So I think I've showed you everything. We've got the cover 3, the cover 2, the cover 4. You've got a nice blitz to throw on top of this. Also a very good play just to run against the stretch plays. I mean, you can see there's nowhere for him to go. 3-yard loss basically every time. Anyways, that will conclude the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more College Football 25 content. Best playbooks. We're going to start doing some online dynasties very soon. Probably either with Michigan, with Bryce Underwood, or we may do an LSU rebuild, trying to do the Burrows, Chase, Jefferson, something like that. So you guys have a great rest of your day. It's Real Jev, and I'm out.